Hey guys, Nas here. We've got a little bit of some additional information. On Friday, they dropped clarification on the PvP stuff, the verse 4 stuff that they were talking about the week before. Basically just some, hey, this is what we're thinking about this and this. And then basically to say that, they are taking in consideration our feedback on stuff and to thank everyone for, giving feedback. And, they are making changes. So last night in Discord, Audric jumped into the Discord and started answering more questions and talking with folks and stuff. And what I'm going to do today is just kind of hit some of the highlights, some of the stuff that they talked about, and we'll go from there. So, first thing in here, we're talking about there's a lot of people who have their opinion about how much PvP players will do PvP and vice versa and all this stuff. So Osric answered uh, one person about that, and he says, in a social sandbox MMO like Pax Dei, PvP and PvE are not meant to be separated. There will be no segregation between PvP and PvE players. The world is shared, and its economy, politics, crafting, and wars are designed to affect everyone. Players have different tolerances for PvP threat, just as they do for PvE combat difficulty, trading, gathering, or crafting challenges. PAX Day is built as a single shared world with one economy where every type of player can find their niche and contribute in a way that feels meaningful. So what's going on here is, I think some people don't seem to get it, is they want one world where it's not all hunky dory and stuff, and not everyone gets along. And I say that in a gross term because I feel like everyone gets along. A lot of these wars and stuff that we will probably see within the game will be friendly per se. I mean, I'm sure some people are going to take it very seriously, and some people are probably going to get their noses bent out of shape and things like that when certain things don't go the way they expect. But I think all of this is put in place to um, create as a dynamic of a world as it's possible to create in a game system. Um, you know, the, the world's not going to change. The blueberries that you picked yesterday are probably still going to be there, 3 hours later as they respawn and things like that. Those type of things are harder to make dynamic, but things like the price of materials, who can sell stuff where, those types of things we as the players can control, and I think that's what they're trying to give us there. So we go on from there to the next topic, and he's talking about houses and the PvP stuff. And he goes in to say, so in a social sandbox, the PvP is the engine that runs the economy, which in this case, PvP is definitely going to be the thing that takes materials and equipment and things, consumables out of play. You armor and weapons and health pots and food and stuff are going to be lost during these battles and stuff, and that opens up a vacuum that allows the crafters to fill back again. So PvP is going to be the destruction end of the crafting wheel that they've so often talked about. Typically in games like this, PvP is active almost anywhere, removing few new player friendly zones. So basically, what they're saying is, like in a lot of other games, it's either a PvP all or PvP no, and what they're trying to do is create a situation where um, you can PvE and not be affected by the PvP, but you can also PvP and do what you want to do, type of thing. So we are making the best we can to provide an opt-in system where we can open more of the areas to PvE without exposing people to PvP. But we want the PvP kingdom battles to happen throughout the world. The PvP engine runs, but joining that is not mandatory. However, we need to do this so that by not accepting to partake in the kingdom warfare, you exclude yourself completely from this system. If we don't do this, then vast majority of the people rather enjoy all the benefits but take none of the negatives that come with it. So basically, it's a risk reward type of situation. It's like if you want all the rewards of PvP and the things that come with it, whatever that is, we still don't know what those rewards are going to be. You need to stick your neck out there. You can't be sitting on the sideline. You can't be Switzerland in this situation and you know just waiting for the dust to clear, because you're not going to get the benefits and stuff. So that's what they're looking at there. um and they basically say you need to commit to the feudal gameplay if you want to participate. You still do PvP and PvE outside of it. Let's see. From there, we go on to so one of the other guys on Discord, Rusted here, he basically explains how what he's in his mind with everything that's been described. He kind of explains what he's thinking is going on, and he says, "My original expectation of how it would work was that two clans or more could form an alliance, and the alliances would be what would go to war. Alliance members wouldn't be PvP flagged on each other, and a clan could always pull out of the alliance if it came to that. Essentially, I assumed a clan would always be its own entity and couldn't declare war or be declared on, and would be focused on your immediate group or family members and friends, and a clan joined the alliance, which was where all the feudal elements took place." And Osric basically replied to him and said, "Hey, you just described the feudal system. It's like you haven't understood correctly." From there, he goes on to basically talk about a little bit about how the wars and stuff go on, and if you can get down in here a little bit more, he's like, the alliance is what gets the war declared on. It's like if a feudal alliance owns a feudal objective, another feudal alliance can declare war on the objective. That makes the two opposing sides PvP flagged against each other. So basically, this sounds like there's going to be items and there's more conversations throughout here. Um, it sounds like there's going to be certain things in the world, and it doesn't sound like they're all going to be in Leoness. At some place, and I couldn't find the link where he talked about it. He talked about even in the wildlands, there could be um, these feudal objectives that are going to be held by feudal houses and stuff. So basically, it's almost like a capture the flag type of situation where people own, to put it in easy terms, is like, hey, we've got this salt mine, and that's part of our, that is under our alliance's control. Well, this other alliance comes in and says, hey, we want the salt mine because our burgers taste like crap without salt. So they declare war on the alliance, and at that point, every house that is part of the alliance has had war declared on them, and at that point they are marked for PvP. And it sounds like you can be whacked everywhere. It doesn't sound like it's just a Leoness thing. So if your alliance has been had war declared against it, and the war breaks out, you are flagged PvP wherever you are in the world. And that doesn't end until the war is actually, whatever has been determined. Either you guys defend it or you give it up. So he goes on to talk about a little bit more. He goes, the conversion from clan to house is done so that people know the risks that they can be have war declared on. The guild leader ultimately decides if the house joins an alliance. If anyone in the alliance owns a feudal objective, the whole alliance goes to war if there's a declaration. That war declaration has a time limit and is tied to a specific objective, and the war ends when the objective is resolved on the time elapse or the time elapses. So it can be almost a waiting game too, as long as you can kind of defend yourself for so long. Um, let's see, we're going a little bit further. I believe people's interpretation of that is that every member of every house in the alliance would be flagged for PvP, and he says yes, that's correct. So, it's going to be one of those things of you need to pick your friends and allies carefully, and you don't want to get yourself in over your head. So, um, like I said, it sounds like there's still a lot of work going on. They have their ideas and they're making it. They're trying to make it all work together and stuff. So now is definitely the time to be making your voice heard on the Discord and stuff. And again, I I encourage you, if you do so, please make sure you have um a uh you know when you're making the argument for your idea, state it clearly and then back it up with something why you feel this way. Again, just saying I don't want a PvP is horrible because I don't like PvP. That you're probably going to get laughed off the boards, and then you'll go home and cry to somebody about how the people in the Discord are mean to you, and so forth and so on, and you don't get taken seriously and stuff. And it's true. So yeah, now's the time to be putting those comments. If you have your own ideas of how certain things are going to work, one, think about your idea and what they have basically said as what the theme for PvP is going to be in this game. Because it may not match. It may not be feasible with the plan that they have. And if that's the case, you kind of need to move on with it, because you got to remember, this isn't your game. Yes, you are playing the game, but this isn't your game. This is Mainframe's game. This is their idea of how the world should work and stuff like that. If you can make them change, more power to you, but you better come with a lot of evidence and some real I don't even know what to call it. Something that can change some minds, and you're going to be prepared to defend your it's like going for your PhD. Be prepared to defend your thesis, because people are going to come at you with both barrels blazing, because people are people. So from there we hit on into, we start talking a little bit about trade towns and how all that's going to work. Now he does go in to say that trade towns and the whole parish system right now is in deep development, and they're still trying to make a lot of things work and work with the other systems and stuff. So again, if you have comments, if you have suggestions, make them known on the Discord. Go to the feedback channels and put your stuff there. And, like I said, make it concise. Make a compelling argument for why what you think should be, should be. So, they go to talking about trade town plots. It says, can feudal houses claim trade town lands as well as feudal objectives? And Aldrich says, trade town plots are owned by individuals. Feudal objectives are owned by the feudal houses. So a member of I guess of the house, the feudal house, could own a plot in the trade town. And then someone comes in and says, is there a limit to trade town spots? Any benefit to having more? And Aldrich says there's no limit. I think what he's talking about here is there's no limit to how many trade town spots a person could hold. I'm pretty sure that there is a limit because there's only so much space in those trade towns. He says they work like normal plots, but they're auctioned off every month. You need to defend your trade town plot in a closed bid auction. The plot owner gets a bonus to their auction costs to help stabilize ownership. And then he goes on further. Where is it at? They say that they're planning to use the Vickery auction formula. So if you win the highest bid, you pay up to the second highest amount. So I had to look this up because I was like, what the crap are they talking about? Vickery auction formula and stuff. So basically what'll happen is in the for the trade down plots, if you decide you want a plot, you will basically say, hey, I bid X amount of money for this plot. And then everyone else is going to put their bids in for those plots and all the other plots and stuff. If your bid is the highest, say let's put it in money terms here. Say you bid 1,000 gold. It's like, hey, I want this plot for 1,000 gold because you feel like, hey, I should be able to make 1,000 gold here selling my awesome potions and all this winter stout because everyone wants this stuff, right? So you say, hey, I'm pledging 1,000 gold for this plot on the corner of A and B Street. The next guy comes in and says, you know what? In his little bid, he says, I think I can do 800 there. So he puts in 800. You wind up winning at 1,000 gold, and the next closest bid is 800 gold. You pay what the second guy bid. So you're not having to pay the full 1,000. You're bidding, you have to pay the 800. And then it sounds like the next month you will have a little bit of extra cushion or something. I mean, they haven't really they don't really go into explain it, but it says the plot owner gets a bonus to their auction cost to help stabilize ownership. I would imagine there's probably some kind of like a discount, like 10% or something like that. Um, so your whatever you put up has a little bit of extra cushion to keep you in that plot. Um, so I think for the first couple of months with this system, there's probably going to be a lot of bouncing around and stuff, and uh, until people kind of figure out one how much stuff's going to cost, what's going on in the feudal world of things, how much stuff are you going to be able to sell, and what can you sell it for, and then once things stabilize a little bit, then it'll be a more regular kind of thing. Um, uh, so somebody asked, hey, will trade towns come before priests and parishes? And he says, can't comment on that. He's like, I don't have an answer for that right now. He said, parishes are going through a detailed design process right now that might change things. So it's best that I don't comment on any of that yet. And, he's right. He doesn't want to like talk about things that he doesn't have an answer for because he knows that if he gives the wrong answer, he's going to get hoisted by his own petard later. Thank you, Brilla. Um, and that's just one of those things. Um, so then he's talking about. From there, we kind of they scatter out a little bit more, and then he's talking about clans and stuff, and what their initial thought for clans were. So it's like, so our initial plans for clan was that them to be like the people you share your plot with, your family. It's clear to me that clans have grown to be much bigger than that with member counts of 100 or so. We're discussing things internally to get more of an idea how this all slots into the social system plan we have. And somebody said, to be fair, I think the reason clans have grown so big is that we were left alone for too long. And they're like not casting aspersions. It's like the truth of the matter is that there was no reason for not to be a huge clan, and I get that. I feel like clan sizes. One, we knew the feudal system was coming, right? And with strength, with numbers comes strength. So I think a lot of people were probably trying to um, get as big a clan together so that when this drops, they could steamroll, some of these other clans. I think in some ways a clan size can be, um it's a little, there's a little bit of pride there. There's a little bit of I got the biggest clan, kind of thing going on. So there could be several reasons why some of the clans have gotten as big as they are. I can tell you that our clan has not gotten big because we like to have, one, we're kind of close knit, and two, because of the permissions thing. We didn't want to get too big, not having the ability to constrain who had access to destroying things, had access to chests and things like that. I've you mentioned several times is like you let all these people into your clan and not having a good permission system, and that's how you wake up on the lawn in the morning with only your underwear and everything gone. So I feel like that's part of the reason, like our clan hasn't grown. Um, but you know, these other guys, they've allowed their clans to grow pretty large, and I think a lot of it is because the they knew this feudal system was coming, and now what is happening is some of these clans are like, they've got a big mix of people, and they have like a big group of PvP players, and they've got a big group of PvE players, and now they're like, well, we don't know what we're supposed to do. And I think you're going to see a lot of these larger clans get smaller as this feudal system kind of kicks into place and stuff. So, because there's going to be a lot of people that don't want PvP. There is a, an old risk averse versus, probably not coming up, risk adverse group of folks that are like, I don't want to lose my crap. And I get it. I totally get it. The PvP stuff that I have done but in other games has been the disaster because I suck at uh not being nice, I guess is the term I would say. Um I am not bloodthirsty. I have clan members that are bloodthirsty. Nickel, I'm looking at you. Um and I don't think I just the PvP stuff just isn't for me. So I feel fine. I will be the Stark Industries making weapons of mass destruction and selling them to you at the going rate. I'm totally fine with that, but I'm not going to be in the trenches whacking people. So that's just how it is. So, and Audra goes on to say, something like better permission control causes effective clans growing in size, for example. This one kind of hit pretty good for me. It's like one of the challenges of developing the game in early access is that you have players playing with incomplete rules. Then issues happen when those rules get more finalized and defined. And I think that hits the nail on the head perfectly and stuff. We have gotten used to a certain way things have been in the last year and 3 months, and now that things are changing, we're like, change bad, and we need to understand that things are got to change for the game to advance and get better and get where it needs to be. And there's going to be growing pains, and we're going to shout and scream and gnash our teeth and wave pitchforks and torches and stuff at the developers and say we're going to quit, and then the next day come back, oh baby, I can't quit you. But it is what it is. So um yeah, so all that went on last night from like apparently like 11 p.m. Eastern to like 8 or 9 this morning. So Aldrich, I thank you for being part of the community and getting in there and answering questions and weathering the storm. Um, we appreciate you guys, one, giving us a great game, two, answering the tough questions, and just being there. So we appreciate that. So otherwise, that's what we got. That's what happened last night. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. Unfortunately, tomorrow is Monday. Yay. Um, but that puts us one day closer to the next update and 1.0. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will do my utmost to answer it, and if I can't answer it, I will try to find someone who can answer it for you. Um, that's the whole point of this, right? So, again, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you like the content that you see here, I would love a subscribe. If you want to see me stumbling through some dungeons and stuff, check me out on Twitch. We stream dungeons for Tuesday fun runs and Saturday night shenanigans. Um, so yeah, come check us out. And until we get some more news or something jaw dropping drops, we'll see you soon. Be nice.